Okay, welcome to the first Facebook Live chat discussions on the budget. This is the National Budget Group. It's a group of citizens groups that have come together to look at the budget, look at the process, look at the implementation, look at everything concerning the budget and how to make citizens be more active and participate more in the budget process and even asking questions. Of course, we have different groups here. We have the Basic Rights group here. We have representatives of Code, Follow the Money. We have representatives of Center LSD. And so we'll be kicking off the discourse. We have a facilitator, one of the facilitators here who will be kicking off the discourse, Dr. Tive Igbuzo. Dr. Igbuzo, now let's first get those who are watching us, let them really know what exactly we are all about concerning the budget.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the point is that the budget is a very, very important document and instrument for governance. And over the years, citizens group have done a lot of things concerning the budget. But I had the opportunity and privilege to work with a partnership to engage Reform and Learn, a program that focuses on how to look at what is preventing budget from delivering services to citizens. Like you mentioned, there are various citizens groups in this our national budget group who have been working on the budget over the years. But we still find out that there are blockages. The budget is not delivering services to citizens as it is supposed to deliver. So first is that that's why we are doing this live discussion. We want citizens to take more interest in the budget process so that citizens can influence the content. Because what we found out is that across the world, when citizens participate in the budget process, it affects the content, it affects the delivery, and it makes it possible for the money to work to deliver services. So I think that is why we're here. That's why you have an organization like Code who are always following the money. The concept of follow the money is to make sure that the money deliver services to citizens. So I think that it's a very important thing. I think it was Native who mentioned from their research that from 1999 to 2014, Nigeria has received more than 70 trillion naira from oil alone. But we see that this is not reflected in the kind of services that Nigerians receive. 70
trillion naira, a lot of money. Yeah. A lot of money. The basic rights. My brother, you do things in both states and federal, isn't it? Okay,
you're the federal.
Oh, you're just
in the federal.
And I know that we've been having meetings and we've outlined some advocacy issues that we would like to follow, because just like Dr. Tive has said, we keep on. Everybody has been following the budget over the years, but it's like when you talk on radio, when you talk on TV, you talk on Facebook, people are talking on social media, the government doesn't seem to be listening. So we have outlined like some key advocacy issues that we think that we should focus on over the next few months. You may want to talk about those key advocacy issues.
Well, just like Dr. Tive mentioned that very day, some of all those issues that were outlined are very, very important to ensure that budget actually actualizes the aim or the purpose for which it was actually planned or crafted. So I think for us as a civil society we should take some of those issues very, very seriously, amplify all those red flags that are on the budget, and see how we can be able to make it a stronger document maybe by 2019, during the preparation of the 2019 budget.
My brother from Code, you see, the truth about it is that we had you are the citizens engagement with the budget and national planning minister. He just talked about red flags with the budget and national planning minister and also the DG budget. There were some red flags that were raised there, but were you convinced by some of those answers that were given by the budget and national planning people, man?
Yeah, I don't know. The budget window in the country is actually, a very, very, the process is actually very, very funny to say. We're actually this is June, this is 1st of June, and we're talking about the 2018 budget. So that's still, budget calendar crisis is still a very, very big problem. It has taken too long before this budget was even passed at the National Assembly. Now it has not even been signed into law. So implementation will be starting around August. We have elections next year. So I'm already seeing some kind of, issues with the budget implementation. And even looking at the administration, 2016, 2017, budget has been so high, the budget figures and all that. It's been quite ambitious. Okay, 2016, recession affected every single stuff. 2017, even, a large component of the capital component of the budget was not even released, and we're in 2018. We have a 8.6 trillion budget, deficit of around 2-point-something trillion naira, capital expenditure is around 2-point-something trillion naira, and all that. So I think the electoral cycle that is coming up, before from end of this year, is all about elections already. That would actually still affect the budget, and also the issue about revenue crisis. Yeah, I know that oil prices are actually stabilizing, so the government can actually be able to earn more through, and also the crisis in the Niger Delta actually subsiding and all that. But I think we're still going to have a revenue problem, and when we have a revenue problem, it will affect the entire, budget implementation. But regardless that, for us at Code or Follow the Money, we just want to see how the budget delivers results at the grassroots. We just want to say, okay, there is a budget line item, 20 million naira for a primary healthcare center in a community that doesn't even know about it. How can that community be able to know about that particular appropriation and even be able to engage the relevant governmental stakeholders to make sure that will be delivered the way it should? So that's what we've been doing over time. The 2017 budget implementation, there were actually issues, like we tracked some NDDC projects, some BCDA, border communities development agencies. They've not even started implementation of some of the capital components of their budget. All the communities we've been to on NDDC 2017 capital budget, they've not even started implementation. This is 2018 already. So even how they carry over some of all these line items. So I think the entire budget cycle, we're still in some kind of budgetary crisis, from the calendar part of it to implementation, revenue shortage, and all that. But
I think I agree with him. That is why, as citizens group, we want to structure our engagement in such a way that it follows the budget cycle. So now we are in June. So we are focusing concurrently on the 2017 budget. We must not forget it.
And we must also take note, let those of you who are watching, this is 1st of June. The 2017 budget hasn't been signed. The government 2018 budget hasn't been signed, rather. Now, 2017 budget is still active. Now, the law says it can be active for only 6 months. There will be a government shutdown if at the end of this month the president does not sign that budget.
But for us as citizens group, we need to focus on tracking the 2017 budget while we are advocating for immediate passage of the 2018 budget. And as soon as it is passed, we start tracking the 2018 budget while asking for a report, an audit of the 2017 budget, while at the same time advocating for the preparation of the 2019 budget and ensuring that citizens participate. I think that this is why the question you asked earlier is very important. Those areas we have identified that citizens must deal with. And we have identified 8 key areas. And I think for the benefit of our people watching, it's important to outline these 8 areas.
Yeah.
The first is process. You know, and to say, good, you know, that even though we have challenges with the budget process, over the past few years, we have seen a little improvement.
Yes.
Yeah,
In citizens'
engagement, in the willingness of government to share information about the budget. So the 2017 budget, we have all the information on the budget office website. And there is an iMonitor, a citizens portal, where people can go and report.
You know, that's the thing. Many people don't even know about this citizens portal.
That is the issue. That is the issue. So,
you know, funny enough, like they have it on Channels Television, they have where you can take pictures and send, and they will say, okay, I report and all that. The National Budget Planning Ministry has a citizens portal where
and there's an iMonitor, just like iReport.
There's an iMonitor where you can take pictures and say, okay, this thing, how much is it in the budget, or what it's on the budget, and you still not done. Just like your NDDC project. I remember I saw some pictures and all that of monies that were allocated to some projects, and there was no there was nothing on it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, please continue about
yes. And also the second issue we talked about is a question of budget realism. How do we make sure that the budget is prepared in such a way that it's not removed from reality?
Yeah, exactly.
And every year the projections will be closer to reality.
Yeah.
Because there are ways internationally that you determine from your past 3 years what have been your experience to use it to project for the coming year. We also talked about fairness and equity in the budget, to look at, put a mechanism in place to ensure that when you allocate resources, you allocate them in such a way that it's not concentrated in a few areas. The fourth issue we talked about is the question of content of the budget. To make sure that budgetary allocation to 4 critical areas that have impact on citizens is increased. These areas are infrastructure, education, health, and agriculture. And we even look at budget from other countries. If you look at budget from places like Ethiopia, you see budgetary allocation to education as high as 30%. 30.
Compared to Nigeria.
Compared to Nigeria, which is about 6%. So there is the need. You know, somebody did analysis of the budget, 2018 proposals, and found out that if you categorize them in terms of administration, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of social services and economic services, you will find out that more than 50% of the budget is devoted to administration. The greatest percentage after administration is security. So the percentage devoted to what will have impact on the life of citizens is so small. So we need to change the structure of the budget in order to decrease the level of suffering that Nigerians are facing. Another issue is recurrent expenditure. You know, in the 1980s, recurrent expenditure in this country was only 30%. Now it has changed. It has not always been like this. It's just that political leadership in the country have continued to create bureaucracy to increase its expenses. We need discipline to reverse this trend. In fact, in 1 year, you know, recurrent expenditure was about 85% Although this government has tried to improve it a little bit up to 30%, but it's still too low, and we need to continue. And then, of course, the seventh thing we talk about, no, 16, is a question of some expenditure which we don't understand as ordinary citizens. There are categorization, in the budget, which makes some people think that they are frivolous.
Yes.
So they need, in going forward, they need
like
to be
like 1 billion naira for cleaning.
for cleaning, for fumigation, and
And they said, and I remember when we asked the minister that time, he said
the
this is
budget,
not
the DG budget.
The DG budget actually. He said this is not ordinary fumigation and
that
cleaning.
is a code,
It's
security
a code. It's a security code. I mean, I don't know. There are many monies that can be hidden under codes. I mean, Monday, don't you think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Tibe talked about the need to change the budget templates, budget structure. But I think that there'll be need for us, especially when we are talking about advocacy on having a budget that is realistic, to at least come up with, is there a template that we can share, to redefine what the actual structure of a budget should be, so that all of these things that we keep on having from time to time, at least we will be able to nip it in the bud. And I'm suggesting that perhaps in this forum, we should be able to come up with what a clear structure of a budget should be
Okay.
going forward.
It's something that will be citizens, would I say, to the advantage of citizens.
I think there is a template.
Yeah.
There is a template, international, what now? International something of accountants, which has been adopted by Nigeria. I think the challenge is how to use the template effectively
to domesticate it.
and be transparent and open.
Well, we have an accountant here, so maybe she will tell us probably what the challenges are.
No, but is it an issue of capacity?
I don't know.
Well,
What do you think?
Challenges in what aspect?
That is trying to make sure that our Nigerian budget falls into the international standards as stated by the accountants.
In my own way, I think they should go ahead to have like a training, because everything is all about training on how to use some of these templates. When you don't know, you don't know.
Okay.
And at times, the environment also favors some things, and people want to go to lean towards that area. As in, when you talk of corruption now, just like you said, some of the items are hidden. They want to continue in that way, to keep hiding things under some codes so that people will not know. And so they will not want to use the acceptable templates. And when this thing is being enforced, that you must go for training on this so that it will be implemented and be made a general acceptable standard for all, I think it will be fine.
Well, let me just remind people that are watching that we are not talking to you, we are talking with you. So we want you to join the conversation. Let's have your comments. Let's know what we can discuss about your comments. I'm sure somebody will be telling us some of your comments and telling us what they're saying. Does anybody have any comments?
Yeah, Mojo will be tracking the comments and let us know as soon as we get comments.
Okay, so
just to add to what she has said, that one of the key issues, as she mentioned, is the question of following the standards and the question of openness and transparency. For instance, all over the world, there is what we call service-wide votes. And that is one of the 8 areas we have identified to continue our advocacy on. And the service-wide votes are normally, those provisions in the budget which you cannot predict. For instance, you can't know whether flood will come, whether disaster will come. You can't know whether emergency will arise. So you put some money aside for contingency. And all over the world, the standard is that money, because that money, the other kind of oversight you do on monies are not, that money is not subjected to it. So, in order to promote transparency and accountability, the percentage of that money should be very low. It should be between 3 and 10%. But we see that the case of Nigeria is very high, over 30%.
That's what they call the service-wide votes.
Service-wide votes. And the reason why it is high is because there are some items that are not supposed to be service-wide votes, which are not there, are there. Things that can be predicted. So, and that is why what you were talking about, training and structure. So we need to structure the budget, because you know one of the problems we have in this country is that people want problem to be solved magically. And problem cannot be solved magically. Everywhere in the world, how do you promote transparency and accountability in the budget process? There are many ways. Number one, you make sure that the executive have internal system to ensure that there's transparency and accountability. Secondly, the legislature, we do their oversight. Thirdly, the citizens, we do their monitoring and tracking. And fourthly, the media, we do their investigative journalism. But instead of building these 4 levels, we think that somehow the problem can be solved. So I think that, you know, especially as we are doing this broadcast, citizens have a role. We want to encourage them to go to the budget office website and utilize the citizens portal. Go to the budget of the entire country is there. If you look at it, if there's anything located in your local government and nothing has been done, snap the picture and post it on the website. This is the way to put whole government accountable.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite important.
Our other friends who just came in, I'm sure they will have some things to say about this whole
budget process.
Yeah, for me, I think it will be quite instructive to really take a look at the angle of the citizens. Have the people really contributed to the budget process? Do our people also even know that there's something like a call that is made by government to commence the process of budgeting? And I think that one of the key things that can be done, even by government, I think there should be a kind of awareness, even down to the community levels, to inform the people that yes, every budget process, every individual should have contributions to make to it, either via a group or associations. And I think doing that will also